We now turn our attention to one of the most detailed passages in Scripture about the devil and Satan, the temptations of Christ. This encounter between Jesus and the devil is recorded in Mark 1 verses 12 and 13, Matthew 4 verses 1 to 11, and Luke 4 verses 1 to 13. What I would recommend is that you pause the video now to read one or more of these accounts. I know of 3 interpretations of the devil or Satan in these accounts. The majority of interpreters understand the devil or Satan here to refer to a specific supernatural being. However, some interpret the devil or Satan here to refer to some unknown human tempter. Others see no actual dialogue between 2 beings, but rather a battle between 2 competing wills within Jesus. Expositions of the temptations of Christ sometimes neglect to discuss Mark's account because it is so brief. It simply says that Jesus was in the wilderness 40 days, being tempted by Satan. However, this lack of information is informative in itself. The brevity of Mark's account suggests that by simply referring to the Satan, it was enough to convey the identity of this being or idea. This makes sense if Satan is the name or title of a specific being known to the readers, but it is difficult to reconcile with the other 2 views. The longer accounts of Matthew and Luke provide additional clues to the devil's identity. Indeed, they allow us to quickly rule out the unknown human being view. The simple fact is that no human being on earth could have been this tempter. What human being had the power to set Jesus on the pinnacle of the temple, and could also credibly claim to be able to hand over all the kingdoms of the world? No one except Jesus himself. However, the figurative internal struggle view is no better. A literal reading of the text points to a dialogue between 2 persons. If it is figurative, it would be the lone event in Jesus' life that the Gospels narrate in non-literal terms. This viewpoint also fails to explain the devil's demand that Jesus worship him. The only conceivable way to interpret this within the internal struggle view would be that Christ was tempted to worship himself in the sense of serving his own interests. However, the text plainly describes a physical act of worship, which makes no sense in relation to oneself. In Matthew 4 verse 9, a literal rendering of the devil's words would be, "All these I will give you, if, falling down, you will worship me." The Greek verb proskuneo, translated worship, means to express in attitude or gesture one's complete dependence on or submission to a high authority figure. There is nothing in the verb's range of meaning which would allow it to be applied reflexively in a figurative sense. Coupling this with the verb pipto, meaning to fall down, makes it indisputable that the devil is a being external to Jesus. 2 other passages in Matthew use these 2 verbs together to describe physical worship, 2 verse 11 and 18 verse 26. There is no precedent in Matthew or anywhere else for the verbs to be used together in a figurative, reflexive sense. Luke 4 verse 7 uses another Greek word, enopion, meaning before or in the presence of, which also brings out the physical nature of the worship. Both the unknown human and internal struggle views fail to satisfy the text and context of the temptation accounts, and also fail to link up with the Satan of Job. We are left to conclude that the devil that tempted Christ was a specific supernatural being.